Okay, I think that's everybody in. So, good evening, ladies. Thank you so much for joining the call. For those that don't know me, I'm Zoe. I'm a fellow menopause sufferer, and I'm delighted to be delivering these calls ongoing on a monthly basis. So, I've been doing them for over a year now. I actually started my first call last March, and I've recently completed a menopause course. So I'm now officially a menopause doula, which means that I can help and support women going through the menopause. The course has been really interesting, and I've learned so much about how important our diet, nutrition, and our lifestyle changes are, and the effect it's going to have on our menopause symptoms. And the course sort of really highlighted this for me. Um, so over the last few months, actually, I've set up a new a client group, like a customer group, Your Vibrant Menopause, which some of my customers might be on here tonight. Alongside Sarah. Now, Sarah's on the call and she's going to be chatting a bit later. And she's also an experienced menopause practitioner and doula. She's actually done the same course that I did, and she's done others as well. And we'll be chatting more about that and how that can help and benefit ladies going through the menopause. And Sarah will also be sharing her menopause story with us as well. So, firstly, I'm going to introduce you to Jackie. So, Jackie is a certified menopause wellness coach. She's also a personal trainer for women in menopause. So, Jackie, did you want to unmute yourself and tell us all about how you help us menopausal ladies?
Hi, everyone. I don't know where you're all based. I'm down in London. We had a massive thunderstorm today, and now it's really sweaty, which is not
Yes.
great. With our heat regulators not working properly. But anyway, I'll try not to drip. I'm Jackie. I basically retrained 10 years ago now, from being an accountant to being a personal trainer. Mainly because I absolutely I loved exercise and movement and stuff like that. And it was literally about 8 months after I'd given birth. So I was quite an old mom. Second time round, I was 41. And I, did the usual stuff that we all do, or that we try to do when we're post baby and lose the baby weight. And what I realized is, in my fitness training, in my personal training course, we didn't learn anything about women's health. We didn't learn about hormones. We didn't learn about why our training needed to change as we got older. And I did the usual: eat less, move more, go nuts with the exercise. Started having kind of menopause symptoms, but the first thing that affected me was my sleep. And I think it just downwardly spiraled really from there. If your sleep isn't on point, a lot of things start to happen, which you don't really put two and two together. So I started a lot of menopause workshops locally. I realized from a friend basically that I'd started to go through perimenopause myself at about 43. My period started to go from 28 days to 23 days. Then I started to miss some. So about 45 that happened. I'm 51 now. And basically my research, which then there wasn't a lot, to be fair, took me into the route of looking at diet, looking at exercise, sleep and stress. And I basically had to change what I was doing. I had to change my exercise routine to make me feel better and to fit in with, kind of this menopausal lifestyle, because what I'd been doing before didn't work. So I did a lot of research into that, changed my diet, started to massively work on my sleep. And then I realized, after doing all these kind of menopause workshops, that a lot of people were becoming aware and educating themselves, but not many people were actually taking that next step forwards and doing anything about it. So they were listening to the knowledge, but nobody was really going the next step and taking actions. So I I wrote an online course for women to help them to do that next step, because I think it's all good and well that we all sit here and be educated, but you have to actually do that work on yourself. You know, as we all know, our journeys are all individual. All our menopause transitions are individual to us, and what I'm experiencing isn't what you guys are all experiencing, and you have to find what works for you. And I think a lot of women will go, well, where do I start? What do I do? So I kind of started there, and then in the hope that women would kind of understand what was going on, and then I moved them on to like a strength training 12-week program, because a lot of women knew that they wanted to do strength training or knew they had to do strength training, but just basically didn't know where to start. So yeah, I kind of that's my path that I've gone down now, and I'm basically now trying to help more women one-on-one, because I find that more rewarding, but also I've realized that you can't really, everybody's journey is so individual that they all need their own individual things for them, rather than just, you know, start to try and look after a group of people. It kind of doesn't work. I mean, I run group exercise classes, but what one woman needs is totally different to what another woman needs. So I've started to focus really more on one-on-one training now, and progressive kind of strength training, and educating women about what kind of exercise they should be doing, but also trying to find things that they enjoy, educating about why. And it's, you know, isn't just about what they do, it's also for how long, the intensity, the timing, what time of day, because all of that can have a knock-on effect, especially depending on what symptoms you're experiencing.
Brilliant. Oh, that sounds brilliant, Jackie. Thank you so much for that. And I think what we'll do at the end, if that's okay, we'll just get through the guest speakers, and then we'll have some questions and answers at the end, if anybody, because I think I've got a couple of questions for you actually. But thank you so much, Jackie. That was really interesting. So I'm going to come next to Sarah. So Sarah is my fellow menopause doula, and menopause practitioner. But Sarah's been on quite a journey herself as well. So Sarah, can you tell us about your journey, and you know, where you were, and kind of like how you've managed to get on top of your symptoms?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Jackie, I've got so many questions for you after beyond. So my journey started nervous breakdown. I was 39, really busy with work, lots of stresses, had dealt with it all very fine, no problems at all. And then I was at my desk when I was 39, and it was 7 o'clock in the evening, and I just crumbled. I was taken home, and I didn't leave my house for 6 months. It was horrific. It was anxiety, stress. It was everything rolled into one. I didn't realize at the time that was my perimenopause kicking in 10 years before my mum finished. It was all sort of linked in with the sort of time frames. But that sort of 4-year period after that, I felt like if I was a horse, I'd have been put down. I had the anxiety breakdown. I was dealing with growths on my ovaries. I was dealing with horrifically erratic periods. My flushes started, and when I say flushes, I mean I was having 4, 5 a day, and they were debilitating. They literally wiped me out. They were lasting 20 minutes. I was going as red as the reddest thing you can imagine. My heart rate was raised to about 130 per minute for God knows how long. And after that 20-minute episode, I was just spent. So it had huge effects on my life. I was having palpitations. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I mean, literally shoot me. It was horrific. And the doctors at the time, they didn't put 2 and 2 together. They just gave me antidepressants. They gave me ACE inhibitors for my fibromyalgia. They said I wasn't going through the perimenopause because I was too young. Blood tests were all normal. So I felt very lost emotionally, and the panic attacks and everything. It was just a really horrific time. And over that period, I'd started to look into things more predominantly because of the fibromyalgia, because I was absolutely adamant that they got this wrong. I was like, there's got to be something I can do here. And I started looking at natural benefits on how I can increase certain things in my diet to help with all of these symptoms. I genuinely didn't think about perimenopause until, God, I must have been about 44. Real tell me when I started banging on about menopause, but it was probably when I was about 44, about 5 years ago. And I realized that what I needed to do was just increase everything naturally. I needed to, Jackie, look at my exercise. Still need massive helps there. I needed to make sure my diet changed, because what I was eating was actually really sort of exacerbating all of the problems. I needed to start practicing mindfulness, because I had to start grounding myself, and I had to get myself back into a sort of calm position. And now I fast forward to, I'm 49 in a couple of months, and I feel 10 years younger than I did when I was 40. I don't look after my diet all the time. I don't. You know me. I do like the odd curry, the odd takeaway. I go out with my friends. I have the odd drink. I know I feel worse after having that type of thing. But what I've been doing is I've been taking the supplements that year or so, because I'd gone off wagon taking them for a while. I also was taking a morning shake. Now, weight loss is not my main journey. My main journey is health and wellness, but the weight I've gone from a size 22 to a 16. However, the shakes themselves have been massively beneficial for me because of the natural phytoestrogens in there. They've really helped. For anyone that doesn't know about the phytoestrogens, they're just they're compounds found in sort of vegetables and lentils and things like that sort of mimic our body's natural estrogen, and they hook onto the estrogen receptors, and they sort of act in a very similar way that our naturally made estrogens would sort of come around. And I find now, if I'm not having my shake in the morning, if I'm not taking my supplements, which have got all the necessary things in I need, that my flushes come back and my anxiety comes back. And I find if I'm not doing my exercises, I'm not going for those walks, for that sort of mindfulness time and that quiet time to get my sort of blood running, that all of that massively, it kicks off again if I don't do it. So, Zoe, I was put on HRT for a while, and apart from wanting to eat everything that wasn't stapled down, I put a stone on in 12 weeks. Although I could do that over a weekend, I'm sure I could. I'm quite gifted in that department. But I found that, the HRT I had to come off, because within a very short period of time, I was being referred for sort of to the breast clinic, and this was only over a few months, so I was told to come off. But luckily, I have found a way to make myself feel better. It does take effort, though. It isn't as simple as putting a patch on. It isn't. You do have to take the steps, but to me, much prefer that rather than having that sort of, for me, that constant worry in the background of,
Sorry, you froze then. It was a bit, don't know if
Oh,
it's
did
my
you?
end. Yeah.
Oh, did I? Can you hear
You
me?
did. So no, that's great. I absolutely love your journey, Sarah, because I mean, it sounds like you were really, in the depths of sort of the end, what was going to help you, and actually look at you now. You've had an amazing transformation in your weight loss. You're feeling so much better in yourself. And I would imagine there's a lot of people that can relate to that situation. We've all got
Yeah.
different journeys.
Yeah, everyone's journey is different, isn't it? Everyone has got something different about their perimenopause journey. I was sat with Kelly, who I can see is on the call. I was sat with her this weekend. I wanted to kill her. She doesn't get symptoms. I was really, 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 really happy that I was sat next to, hi, Kel. I was sat next to this wonderful woman who looked so vibrant and didn't have a symptom to call her own. And I was thinking, I'm so happy for you. So there's people like Kelly, and then there's people like me that I think basically the symptom book was written for me. So I'm thinking, I think I went through, I had about 32 of them, 32 symptoms, between painful breast, the itch in the skin, all of the lovely symptoms. So we've all got to find our way around, and exactly what Jackie was saying is that what fits one person isn't going to fit another, really, is it? But for me, being able to be off HRT, so I haven't got that off these fibromyalgia medications, which was making me feel dead from the neck down, that to me is just priceless. It absolutely, I feel completely different. Everything's so much better.
That's brilliant. I love that. And I mean, Sarah and I have actually set up, I mentioned we've set up this group, Your Vibrant Menopause, where our customers get access to those. So these supplements that we take, I take the same ones as Sarah, and the protein shakes. We offer this group, and it's quite a new group that we set up a couple of months ago. And there's lots of information in there. There's lots of support. There's lots of motivation, and it really is. I think a lot of the ladies find it really helpful, because they're not alone. They're not just put in this group and left to their own devices. They've got us in there doing lives. We're adding information into there. We're sharing what we're having for our breakfast, for our lunch, for our tea, because we do eat real food as well. So Sarah, just tell us a little bit more about how we sort of work that group as well with the cleanse, and how important that is for our ladies.
Well, I think we've taken it because we're both, I mean, you do tend to, some of you just get thrown into there. And I think what we wanted to do was something a bit different, was to say, well, join the group, but take part in the group. And this is about your nutrition and your mindfulness and you taking an active role in your health. So yes, it isn't going to be for everyone, but for those that really want to actively manage their health and have an amazing second part of their lives where, post-menopause, this is where we're trying to teach you how to do it, basically. So yes, we've got the recipes, yes, we've got the nutrition side down. There is a lot of mindfulness recommendations in there, as far as starting your day every day with the meditations we've got in there. But I do think it is about us showing up and turning up every day. And this sort of menopause cleanse that we do once every month, that literally is 10 days of focus on being kind to yourself, focus on how you turn up for yourself every day. Like, we turn up for everyone else, don't we? But we often put ourselves to the bottom of the table, or bottom, making intentional decisions on, I'm going to wake up 10 minutes early because I'm going to do a bit of mindfulness. I'm going to make sure that I plan my week of food ahead, so I can make sure that I'm sticking as best possible to plan. We fall off oh God, how many days have I had breakfast at 5 o'clock in the evening because I've been busy? Life happens, but the idea is we're there to support each other and provide a bit of, an active community, really.
That's it, exactly. And also, like you say, we all fall off the wagon. It's not about having a good or a bad day, but it's about being consistent, isn't it? And I think that applies for what Jackie's talking about with her fitness and the weight training, all of that. I mean, it's if you're not consistent with it, you're not going to get results. And this is exactly what we're about. It's just about, applying a consistency plan. Yes, you can still have your treats, and you can still have that glass of wine or whatever your treat looks like, or a pizza or a takeaway. But it's it's just about being consistent. And I've noticed such a difference in my own symptoms. When I eat well, I feel well. I feel so much better.
It's not rocket science though, is it?
Not really. No, absolutely. And
every day. And then
Oh, sorry, you froze again then. You keep freezing. I don't know
Is
if
it
it's
me
at my
freezing?
end.
I thought it was you. Oh God, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about our group, and we're loving it, and we're really loving, you know, sort of the vibe in the group and the community. And I mean, just to give you a bit more information as well about the products, you know, that we take. I mean, so for me, I was suffering with night sweats, hot flushes. I was struggling to sleep. God, my aches and pains were just so unbearable. For 6 years, I suffered with aches and pains. And I did suffer with the weight gain. I was moody, irritable, you know, all of that. And at the time, I was advised that HRT was in short supply and that I probably wouldn't be offered it. I don't think they deemed that I was probably not as bad as the situation that Sarah was in, but not that I was looking to go on HRT, but I actually stumbled across these products, and actually, you know, they've been a life changer for me. So, and it's made me, you know, watch my diet. So I'm adding in good nutrition. And you know, I've made those changes, and it's made such a difference. You know, so the product that I take is the and Sarah is the vegan omega capsule, and our omegas have omegas 3, 7, and 9 omega fatty acids, and that bridges the gap with what we should be getting in our diet, because we can't actually take those in, or our body can't produce them. So we have to take them in through our diet or supplement them. But these also contain vitamin D3, zinc, and also phytonutrients, lutein and lycopene. And phytonutrients are actually provide really good health benefits. And research has shown that lutein can really help reduce your cortisol levels as well, which is your stress hormone, which, I mean, that can have such an effect on everything, our sleep, all of our symptoms. So, as you know, if we can manage those cortisol levels, then actually that's going to really help, you know, keep a lot of those symptoms away. And there's also a premium capsules that we take, which is the equivalent of 30 varieties of fruit, veg and berries, and they are like in the raw form as well. So it's so important to be getting particularly vegetables and fruit into our diet, especially during menopause. Looking after our gut health is so important. Our gut is responsible for 70% of our immune system. So every day, you know, I'm taking these, and that's given me 30 varieties of fruit, veg, and berries every single day. So, you know, something to consider, ladies, or something to think about, you know, your diet and your nutrition and what you're putting into your body, because it really does make a difference. And obviously the exercise as well. So, I mean, we have got actually quite a lot of time left, so we can go into sort of questions and answers now. So if anybody's got any questions, if you want to put it in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask questions.
One thing I would say as well, just from a nutrition point of view, is I'm completely lazy. If whoever knows me personally knows, if my husband hasn't cooked, then we don't eat in this house. It's just quite as simple as that for me. And I find that I can skip meals quite easily, and I know that that's not helping my body at all. And when I'm looking at the phytoestrogens in particular, because in perimenopause your estrogen levels are sort of zipping up and down all the time. Progesterone tends to sort of take a steady dip, but the estrogens all over the place. Having those phytoestrogens are really important. They're in berries, they're in cruciferous vegetables, soy, tofu, all of those type of things. But again, because I'm a bit lazy, the fact that I take the supplements, knowing the berry capsules have got like all of those 9 in there, the vegetable capsules have got all of those vegetables, the cruciferous veg in there, and then the shakes have got the magnesium and the sort of soy, so the phytoestrogens there. I know I'm getting it by 9 o'clock in the morning. It's there, it's done. And I think that's really, really important to start yourself off in a really, really good way first thing in the morning.
Absolutely. And so Jackie, I've got a question for you. So I know you said obviously you've got to tailor like each individual lady's exercise regime, but you mentioned about like exercising at certain times of the day? I mean, how does that kind of work?
So, well, there's a couple of things really, like really long, and it depends what effect it has on you. Really long duration exercise. Like, I'm not an endurance athlete, but if you are, you know, doing really long endurance things is at a kind of moderate level, that kind of keeps your cortisol at a medium to high level, which is obviously what we're trying to avoid. But for some people, going out for a jog and plugging in and running around the streets actually can be quite restorative for them. That would be my worst nightmare. But then I could say to somebody, go to some yoga class, and they go, oh my God, that would be my worst nightmare. That would just stress me out. So no, I mean, there's kind of 4 things that I talk to women generally about what they should be including in their routine. And if you think about it in 4 S's, it makes it really easy. But so strength training twice a week. When I say strength training, it's like a really proper progressive program. I used to go to CrossFit. I used to do all that what was that, beach body, all that kind of stuff where you're picking up really heavy weights, throwing them around. They call it HIRT, which is not HURT, HIRT, which is high intensity resistance training. So you're picking up heavy weights and doing high intensity stuff with them. And to me, we're not 20 whatever anymore, not 25, 30 anymore. It's a massive risk for injury, but also you can't really go proper heavy weight training if you're absolutely out of breath. You have to do like strength training here and then some intensity work separately, because you really need to be thinking about like the muscles that you're working and almost getting to fatigue in that with your muscle as opposed to out of breath, because you can't really focus on whether your muscles are working properly if you're absolutely shattered. So I had to totally change that, because that's what I used to do. I used to go to loads of circuit training and let's go to CrossFit and like, you know, literally, unless you were nearly puking and on the floor, it wasn't a great workout, and that's just gone now. So I just say to, you know, women, two days a week of just focusing on resistance training, but it's progressive, you know, so you have to make the intensity either with longer sets or, I mean, more sets or more reps or more weight. And making sure that we're incorporating kind of compounding moves, so the squats and the deadlifts and a push and a pull, especially things like overhead, because as we get older, many people don't do overhead stuff and we lose that ability to be able to reach, and I never want to do that. So I'd say 2 strength training sessions a week, 2 sessions a week of getting yourself breathless. However that is, it doesn't matter. You know, we could be pounding some lengths in a pool or on a bike, or it doesn't matter, but trying to get but that would be kind of interval sessions. So you're going really hard, but not necessarily with a weight, in a pool, on a bike, on a row machine, and then you stop and you get your breath back and you do it again, and you stop and you get your breath back and you do it. And you can do all that in anything less than half an hour. You don't need that long to do it. So and also that those short durations are also keeping your cortisol levels low, right? So it's really effective, but you're not keeping your body in that kind of stress state for a long time. But I would never do anything like that in the evenings, because you want your cortisol low because you want your melatonin high, and that is not going to happen if you're putting your body through all that massive stress at too late of an evening time. So for me, my cut off 7 o'clock. For somebody else it might be different. You know, I don't say to someone, don't do anything after 7 o'clock. You have to know what keeps you wired and after what time, because I'm not here to tell you a cutoff time. I know what my cutoff is because I've had a go, and you know, I'm like, oh, I can't do that again because I can't sleep. So I would mainly encourage women to do that kind of stuff, your strength training and your high intensity stuff early on in the morning, and definitely have at least 48 hours between your strength training sessions, because we also take much longer with lack of estrogen to recover. So recovery takes longer. So I would say, you know, let's say you do a strength session on a Monday, do another one on a Thursday. And then on Tuesday and Friday, you can do your kind of interval training. And then, so that's the 2 S's. The other one is strides, but like it's just walking, getting out and walking, especially after we've eaten. It really helps with keeping your insulin levels or your insulin responses and the sugar spikes after eating. It's really good to just walk. And it doesn't matter if you just walk around your kitchen. And even studies have shown if you can't walk, because some people go, I can't get out and walk after eating, then fidget. Like literally move your legs around or do a few calf raises or anything like that will also really help to, because you know we become really insulin resistant as we get go through menopause. Everything starts to affect, like you say, our guts and sugar and the way that we respond to that. And then the other thing is stress relief exercise, however that is for you. You know, it could be Tai Chi, it could be dancing, but something that actually just zones you out and gets you into that mental thing of I'm in my place, and it doesn't matter what that is, and trying to fit those kind of 4 things into the week. And you know, it might be a 20-minute walk, it might, whatever it is, it might be some playing with your kids, it might be anything, but they're the kind of 4 things that I try to focus women on, and to also think about changing the timings of that, mainly because of the sleep. You know, getting up in the morning, we all have this circadian rhythm, and as well, all our circadian rhythms are slightly different. You know, I can't get up at 6 a.m, but a lot of my mates are like, oh yeah, I'm up with the larks and I'm out with the dogs and I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm like a 7:30 girl, but I get up a bit similar to you. I make my own protein shakes with loads of berries and loads of stuff in there, flax seeds and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of have my nutrition by 9 o'clock in the morning, but I do have coffee first because I absolutely love it. And then I do my exercise. So and actually it gives me headspace, it gives me that mental clarity, it makes me feel a bit like, woo, especially like for me, strength training it's just I feel strong, I feel powerful. So it's, you know, it's so much more complicated than just saying what to do. It's also how long to do it for, what time of day you're doing it at, you know, and that's why for some women it's difficult because they can't exercise till the evening.
Yeah, I
And
think,
then you're like,
yeah. Sarah's just
yeah,
asked, do you do online coaching?
yeah, I can do online coaching. I mean, it's a little bit more difficult because there's a lot of videoing stuff involved, but I have to kind of do a initial body assessment and stuff like that. But you know what I try to do is I ask you what your goals are, and then I write the program around your goals with fitting in the things that I know that you should be doing, and you know that we should be doing for our bones and muscles at this age. So yeah, I do online coaching. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. I mean, I walk my dog every day, and I think that's kind of like my
Great.
sanity,
Yeah.
you know. But I do the strength training as well. I do that a couple of times a week, and
Good.
yeah, I enjoy it. I never thought I would. I used to run a lot, but I don't run hardly at all now. I probably run once a week for 2 miles, and that's it. Again, with my dog, it's his walk and it's my run.
Exactly. Exactly. And
So
doing things with friends, walking with friends, or getting out yourself, even if you've got a park nearby, all of that kind of stuff is really helpful. Just trying to get away from the noise and a little bit more into nature. But you have to find your thing. You know, I
yeah,
can't say to someone, you have to go to yoga because it's meditative. And somebody would go, oh, you're joking. I'd rather, you know, I'd rather cut off my left finger. And it's like, well, fine, it's not your thing. It's not your thing. But find what is your thing. Find the thing that puts you into that that state where everything just shuts down. For some people, it's running. You know, I for me, it's not. But it's finding the thing that what is relieving stress that's good for you. And I'm not here to tell anybody what you must do. It's giving advice on finding things that do relieve your stress, finding things that do get you out of breath, that you and trying to find the things that you enjoy. You know, and I hate HIIT training. It's hard. You know, it's not nice. So I do it in a group. I go to a gym, and there's a 30-minute HIIT class on a Wednesday night. My little girl goes to gymnastics, or drop her off at gymnastics, and I go there. I do a half-hour strength session, and I do a HIIT session after, because I'm doing it with other people. I'm like, I'm not going to stop because you're carrying on. And you know, it gives me that motivation. But doing it on my own, I'd be like, I've got to do another round of that. I can't be bothered. You know, it's so easy to do that when you're by yourself. So I force myself to do HIIT training with other people because it makes me do it. Or I might do it with my
brilliant.
husband. I'm going to beat you.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. So how many people on this call are actually applying any exercise? Put your hands up or put a thing in the comments.
I've put one finger up because I know I should. And I think,
Yeah, but you
but I
walk a lot,
wonder,
Sarah. You
I
do a
do
lot of
walk,
walking.
I do walk, but Jackie, is that I wonder why I don't walk into the swimming pool, do a mile and come out not a size 8. I'm like, why? What's happened? Literally, I've really swum for ages there. So I know I've got consistency with exercise is not my thing. That's why I need you,
you're
maybe.
saying, but it's like you're saying about the food, and you know, it is finding something that works and being consistent. You know,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I don't go on holiday and go, is there a gym? Because I'm gonna have to do my two strength sessions. I don't care when I'm on holiday, you know, but it is finding it is finding what works for you, what time works for you, schedule it in, and then just be consistent.
Can I
And
just say how lovely it is to hear a trainer who actually acknowledges that we all like different things and it's not one rule fits all? It's such a breath of fresh air.
but that's why the fitness industry fall down. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's, and also they're all telling everybody, oh, you need to eat less and exercise more. No, you know, that is
No.
so not what we want in our life, because both of those things are physical stresses on your body. Exercise is a physical stress, which is why we should kind of not do it for hours, because it's not good for our cortisol. And dieting is a physical stress on our body, and we don't need to do either of those things in our life. In fact, the more you train, the more you need to eat, not the other way around. You know, that's just going to make everything even worse. But that's the problem. You know, people aren't taught that, and that's why I think there's a massive need for menopause trainers and people who actually understand what women are going through. You know, and I might write a session for somebody, and they might turn up at the gym, and I don't go, right, we're doing this today. You know, the first thing I ask them is, how are you feeling? How have you slept? What have you eaten this morning before you've come here? What are your symptoms? What are, you know, have you got a headache? Have you? Because I'm not going to make them do what I've written if they're feeling like shit, you know. So you have to look at the woman in front of you and work with them and work out what's right for them. And if that's not doing the plan that you did that morning, so be it. You need to chuck it away and do something else. And it might be, let's go for a walk around the park together. You know, who knows?
Yeah, just so you know, we've got literally just under a minute left now, ladies. So we've been chatting so much, the time has run away with us. So any more questions we've got for anybody or for Jackie? But Jackie, honestly, that's been wonderful. And thank you so much for your advice. And I'm sure the ladies have found that very, very helpful tonight. And Sarah, thank you for your chat as well, about your story. That's been brilliant. Thank you so much. I hope you all found it helpful. And we'll be doing another Menopause Monday in July. I can't remember the date, so I'll have to let you all know if you'd like to jump on. But yeah, I'm gonna sort of say goodbye now, because otherwise it's gonna stop. So yeah, thanks
So
ever so much, ladies. Appreciate that, and enjoy the rest of your evenings.